After having worked across multiple consumer durable companies, he is now taking things forward to build the next generation of Harley-Davidson riders in India. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as I invite Mr. Sajeev Rajasekaran, Managing Director, Harley-Davidson India, and he will take us through South India, untapped business opportunities. Mr. Sajeev Rajasekaran, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Can't hear many voices at all. Good morning, everyone. Okay, I am a Malayali who was born in Nagarkoil and brought up in Hyderabad. So I fairly understand what South India is all about. And as fate would have it, I am right now settled in a place called Gurgaon up north. If I would have had a choice, probably it wouldn't have been the first or the second priorities in terms of where I would like to settle down. I will just take you through a bit of what is it that we see in terms of South, how it's been for Harley-Davidson, and what is the potential which is there in South overall. To begin with, these are the images which immediately relate to any South Indian or anybody in India that this is what South is about. Now, the uniqueness in this is there could not be as many images for any other region which you could show and they would say that, yes, this is about South. Please keep a note of the tea guy who's selling tea by the meter on the top center. I would have a story to say in my last slide. Not that you should be ignoring the slides in between. Okay, what is it that's unique about South India? It's very, very congenial for startups. If you guys have seen Byju's, which is from Kerala, has got a valuation of about $1 billion, and that started from a remote area in the city of Kerala, and it's where it is now. There's a high consciousness for environment here, and there are also a lot of English-speaking population, which is what is the need for many industries in South. Also, if you look at the customer, he's more evolved. He's likely to spend on food, followed by education. He's keen to explore the modern while staying strongly rooted in traditions and values, which was not the case earlier, and takes pride in his culture. There's a strong affinity still there for his language, food, and music too. In terms of the subtle differences, earlier any guy from South used to be called a Madrasi in North, irrespective of where you belong to. So if there are any North Indians here in the audience who think we are all Madrasis, I thought I'll just share 2 slides that we are not all Madrasis. There is a subtle difference between all of them from the region where we come from. For the Kannadigas are more evolved and they are embracing newer technology. A Malayali loves his fish and rice. I'm not sure about how much he loves his liquor. And it's high on remittance when it comes to Gulf. If you look at a Tamilian, I'll not take any chances here, looking at where I'm speaking from. But then they are very, very proud of take pride in their culture. It's still a matriarchal society in some places. And Chennai is called the Detroit of India. And it's been the hub of many of the manufacturing units for automobiles, including I was talking to the MD of Renault that it's even the R&D hub happens to be in Trivandrum, which caters not only to India, but for the other places too. And Andhra, apart from loving his biryani, has also sent the maximum number of people to the US. I remember when I was studying in Hyderabad, and after that I could have my friends saying that we have the 88 batch playing with the 87 batch this weekend, which means there were more than 11 people in one area, geographical area in the US, who could have 11 players each to play a cricket game of 2 batches, a senior batch and a junior batch. Now, it's also the preferred destination for international brands. You would be aware of IKEA opening its first store in Hyderabad. Taco Bell's also has opened it, and an evolved customer who understands the nuances and who's ready to adapt to newer brands. There's a saying by Max Holloway who said that men may lie, women may lie, but figures never lie. I made a small change in the original quote versus what I said now. I added the word may in between. And as the figures have to say, you have a higher share of the total FDI in terms of what is it in the national scene versus what's available in South India. The average growth is better. The percentage of population below poverty line is lesser than what it is in India. The number of households with electricity is 98.91% and literacy levels are the highest. What more a combination do you want in terms of, for the marketeers here, as to it's the most potential set of consumers one can have. Okay, now, other than that, there's also an SEZ corridor across the Grand South Trunk. There are industrial corridors across the rest of the places. And one other thing which we see when it comes, especially my experience with a previous organization, when it comes to the government being friendly and open and welcoming to the manufacturer in terms of investments and wanting their people to get jobs, they are very, very proactive. Especially Andhra Pradesh and Telangana and South. Earlier, there were times when people used to go out to the government and seek SOPs in terms of what needs to be done, and there was a lot of red tapeism. It's no longer like that. The governments are pitching between each other to get your brand to set up a manufacturing facility there, and they are actually being very, very proactive about the whole thing. Now, the potential sectors, if I name about a couple of them, would be the retail, which has got a lot of scope with the higher GDP and a more aware population. FMCG, on an average, southern people pay 31% more for household care products and 12% more for food and beverage as compared to the rest of the country. Healthcare also is an area which has got a very high significance in terms of its potential. And so is the startups. Bangalore globally ranks among the top 3 tech cities in the country. Now, how many of you all were aware that the first motorcycle company had set up its base in South? It was Enfield in the year 1955, followed by Java in 1960. Not only this, Sholavaram in Chennai was India's first racetrack in the 1960s. It took about more than 5 decades for Buddh Circuit to come up in North. Now, why this is important is it creates an ecosystem. There's a culture of racing and riding. As they say that you race on a Sunday and sell from Monday. So the brand which wins on a Sunday generally has tries and leverages that in the next couple of weeks and months, and that's how it works. So South has been the area from where the racetrack culture began and the racing culture had started. And it was Sholavaram where the first racetrack existed. And when the higher CC displacement vehicles were not available, people used to even race on the mopeds at that point of time. Now coming to a bit of Harley Davidson. Now, we started in 29, and this happens to be our 10th year. And why I'm trying to show this is not to promote where we are. And we started with our footprint with the first store in Hyderabad 10 years ago. And what we are today is the last 10 years of Harley Davidson, we have sold about 25,000 units, and every second bike, which is 600cc plus, happens to be a Harley Davidson. So in short, the 10 years of existence in India, we've had a 50% market share cumulative. This is the South chapter. We also have rallies across the country. There is one in North, South, East, and West. South, what we had earlier was in Cochin. This year, we would have it next month in Hyderabad at Ramoji Film City. Why this stands out also is because it's the South rally where we see the maximum participation among all the 4 rallies. What this is a national, every year we have 5 events in all. North, South, East, West, and one which is the national one which happens in Goa. And South happens to be the most attended and the best in terms of the way it's been conducted. We have 3 dealerships across the country. There is only one city where we have 3 dealerships, and that happens to be Bangalore. There is no other city because it's a niche brand, and we sell bikes from about 5.5 lakh rupee ex-showroom to about 50 lakhs, and it's not viable or the potential in many of the cities doesn't exist except for Bangalore, which is again part of South, and 40% of our sales come from the south of India. Now, we had a contest of interns in the US. Interns is like a summer trainee, which you might be aware of, a college student or somebody who's joined a job, who wants to work in an organization for a month or so and try to learn how the organization functions from within, and to get a hands-on experience in a month's time. Now, when it was run in the US a few years back, we got a lot of calls and mails saying that, is it happening in India too? With that feedback, we started doing this. We tried to do an internship program in India, and we did it for the first time here, and we got about more than 2,300 applicants. Now, the applications were not just the name and the phone number. There was a lot of other things to do along with that. And when it was this 2,300, we were always thinking that what we would get is the college students, or those who've just joined, or those who are hardcore enthusiasts. Now, what we realized was that while the majority was that, one of the 4 winners finally happened to be, again, a guy from the south and not a youngster. He was a 51-year-old guy, a Malayali from Hyderabad, who had defied all the norms of what an intern is typically like, a college student who's trying to do 2 months and earn some money. And it was Roy Choco who was this. This also shows that how the thinking is changing and how the culture, which was more conservative and which was more secluded, is changing. And we experienced this at Harley too. Now, the way forward, it's a combination of all these things which only South would have. There could be some places which could have a few of them, but not all of them. So there is no other place which has got a combination of an evolved customer, a rich culture, emerging markets, so many of them. So you would, for example, in Tamil Nadu, you would have a Chennai along with a Madurai, Coimbatore, Trichy, Salem, and all that, but not many states in the country could claim of so many cities with such potential other than the main cities where the state capital is. So this is one thing, a combination of which we should be aware of. Now, coming to my last slide, what I told you in the beginning of the tea stall guy, this was an incident which happened when Telangana and AP partition, or the separation was happening from one state to 2 states. So there was a bandh called on a day, and our rider, we have these rides which are long distance rides. So we call it the K2K ride, which is either from Kashmir to Kanyakumari or Kanyakumari to Kashmir. So the gentleman you see in the slide planned for a ride from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, and in between the place where there was a bandh called on those days, he was out of fuel. Now he went to a tea stall guy, and he gave the guy 2,000 bucks and said, I need to cross 80 kilometers and take 2,000 and get me 5 liters. Now the guy vanished, and he had to meet those milestones at a particular distance because there are hotels booked and it is a very long journey and there is a support system. If he misses one destination reaching on time within that bandwidth of a couple of hours, he loses the rest of the milestones also, which would further delay his entire trip altogether. So he gave him 2,000 bucks, the guy did not come. So he thought the obvious, that maybe he's vanished and there's no way I could do anything. But surprisingly, after 1.5 hours, the guy comes back and says, there's no petrol at all. I tried everywhere and keep this 2,000 back with you. Then the tea stall guy, by that time, he was friendly with him. He had a couple of teas then, probably to get rid of his previous hangover, or he got friendly with him. And then he said, I can't let him go like this. We have to do something. Now the tea stall chap started calling all the people whom he knew. They were a combination of rickshaw drivers to guys with mopeds and scooters and all that. Everybody came in who were his friends. And then what they did is, in a teacup, they took petrol from the tank of their vehicles and poured it into the Harley Davidson bike which he was doing. And finally, with a teacup of petrol, he could fill the tank to about 5 liters. And they did not even take the money. So that's what is the culture of South. That's the kind of thing which we guys do. So please be proud of who we are, where we are. We are in a land of immense potential, and we are blessed to be in this part of the country. Thank you, everyone, for all the attention. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The South is not timid, it's revving with activity. Please stay back. We'd like to thank you with a memento. You give us a teacup, we'll save your life. Thank you for putting things in perspective. I take this opportunity to invite Mr. Sukumar, Managing Director Anil Semia, and Mr. G.K. Manohar, Director, Pudhiya Thalaimurai News, to please join us on stage and felicitate our fantastic speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, nice big round of applause. His name is synonymous with innovation and creativity. Mr. Srinivasan Swamy, Chairman R.K. Swamy Hansa Group, may I have you on stage to talk on South India Potential Unlimited. Ladies and gentlemen, a nice big round of applause for someone who has done us proud.
Good morning, friends. I was a little worried when our program started half hour late, because I do have a journey this afternoon to my native town. But I'm happy that much of the time has been made up, and I can certainly have my say in the next 10, 15 minutes. I was a little worried when I started this morning, when I looked at the agenda. There are 4 subjects very, very similar to what I was to speak on. South India potential, unlimited potential. Similar words were used for 4 of the speakers. And therefore I said I will not do slides, because if there are slides, I'm stuck with what they have said, what I have said earlier, and it could be kind of repetitive because the subject is almost similar. So I'm glad that both Ramnath and Sajeev covered much of the points that I was about to make. So I'm glad the slides are not made. But I still need to cover my subject. We all know there are 5 states and 1 union territory. And we all know that South has got unlimited potential, as the title suggests that. We have a population of 20%, but our GDP share is about 29%. That itself tells you that we have enormous potential in South, 29% for 20% of population. We also know that our literacy levels are very high, as been covered by earlier speakers. All India average, my number says 73, some number says a little higher, it doesn't matter. And we are at, for example, Tamil Nadu is at 80%, Kerala is 94%, Karnataka is 75%. Combined Andhra, I don't want to get into because I don't know how to measure that. But overall, somebody says 82, somebody says 78. Certainly, 73 national average, 78, 80, I think is the number for South India, literacy-wise. We also have the highest concentration of urban India in South India. As you know, we have 7,900 towns in India. And of that, 2,330 towns are in South. That means we're talking about a ratio of 30% in South. So that tells you that there is enormous potential in South, because when you have urban concentration, it's a marketer's delight. You can actually market products and services there. But our own state, Tamil Nadu, is the most urbanized in India. We have 1 in 8 towns in the country, as urban as it can get. And if you think that, states like Maharashtra and Gujarat should actually be ahead of, other states, you'd be mistaken, because our own south is significantly higher than in Maharashtra and Gujarat in terms of urbanization. So it's a surprise for me. I thought it's a surprise with you as well. But all of us would think that, very developed states in Maharashtra would be way, way, way beyond what we are here. Another interesting fact I noted in Tamil Nadu, or in South, is that our family size is significantly smaller. When we are looking at national average of 5.5, 6, ours is 4, 4.5. To me, it's a very, very interesting thing. If you have more households, that means more purchases going to happen. Eventually, there's going to be more people, decision makers, for deciding for smaller units, and therefore, that's a very interesting, thing. Somebody has talked about women empowerment in this South India. I think it's amazing that we have the maximum amount of people empowered, women empowered in the state, as evident by, again, maybe the breakup of families, because mother-in-law wants to live on her own, daughter-in-law wants to live on her own, whatever. Therefore, we have lots of people empowered in the state. And this, again, reflected by the workforce. We have the maximum amount of women in the workforce in South India. It's again, something that I was surprised to see. I thought it'd be kind of neutral there, but we are also way ahead there. So, literacy, urbanization, the quality of people, purchasing power, all of that, I think, lead to one more thing, which is that we are the early adopters of anything high-tech, which is evident by, again, higher share of split air conditioners, frost-free refrigerators, fully automated refrigerators, and washing machines, and all of that. So whatever is actually being taken up by others in other rest of India is taken the first year. No surprises that we have maximum number of television sets sold here, maximum number of computers sold here. So it's evident. And somebody talked about healthcare. We are the healthcare capital in India, there's no doubt about it. Because we have amazing number of multi-specialty tertiary hospitals in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Hyderabad, all of that. So there's no doubt that we would surpass every other state in the country. Now, our company, Swamy Hansa, puts together every few years a market planning guide. And one interesting thing that we observe there is that there is an index that we measure called Market Intensity Index that tells you the purchasing power of every market, the intensity of the market. And there's no surprise that South completely beats the rest of India in terms of Market Intensity Index. So again, indicative that South is no pushover. When it comes to advertising, Karthik and Map I hear, they probably will slap me if I say something wrong, so I'm a little worried. We have 65,000 crores kind of advertising volume, and South accounts for 20,000 crores of that. It's again a significant number, almost 1/3 of advertising spends happen in South. And in other markets, other zones of India, have television penetration of anything between 60 and 70, depending where you look at. South has 90% penetration for television. Again, a significant number. If you look at Kerala alone, it's 100%. So there is advertising-wise, as obviously, again, we are significantly deep in our reach. We look at the number of products advertised in South. There are 700 categories that were advertised last year. But 700 categories made up actually of 87,000 brands. The amazing number of brands per category. 87,000 brands on 700 categories. And out of 66,000 advertisers. The huge number of advertisers, that tells you the number of local advertisers we have in this market, and also the number of brands we have in this market, for a limited number of categories. But this itself tells you that we have a serious task at hand when we need to get into marketing. I can look at media spends, media-wise, but I'll look at slightly different measure, which is ad insertions, media-wise. And I find that 79% of ad insertions are on television, 16% is on radio, and only 4% on print. Maybe there is some message for our friends in print, how they should price themselves and how they should start marketing themselves. Instead of marketing per insertion, maybe they should, like what television does, to look at some package that actually gets the space filled up and same time get more revenue for themselves. We have lots of print advertising, though. The number of the number of insertions are less. We have, again, 660 categories being advertised on print. Again, 62,000 advertisers, 79,000 brands. I think it's all dissipated because one of them is getting heard because there's not enough weight behind that kind of advertising that needs to be there. Of course, all expected categories are there: the auto, the retail, banking, finance, personal accessories, durables, textiles, healthcare, F&B. All these are expected to be there, and they're there. But I think print can do much better. Navneet was here somewhere, left. I think you should probably take note of what we need to do to make sure that the print is certainly going to grow. Yes, I think the potential is huge, as seen by the kind of quality of audience we have, the urbanization we have, the kind of market size we have, and also that's backed by advertising spends, the media reach, and all of that. But what is actually holding us back? I think it is there are many, I think very few brands from South which really have had a significant play on all-India basis. So I want to reflect. I was reflecting on whether it's wrong or right to look at this as some failure on part of South India, or is it something that is deliberate? As Rajiv mentioned, I think it could be deliberate strategy because we have in India a situation, in South India, a situation where we can actually target in a media efficient manner the audience, which otherwise is not possible. If you look at Idem Nallanna in Tamil Nadu, they are certainly a significant player. The Kallusri has, I think, done very well. If you look at Gemini Oils in Kerala, in Andhra, combined Andhra Pradesh, they've done very well. I think they have close to 40-55% market share in oils. If you look at a company like, what is the name of the company? ID Fresh Food in Bangalore. They make dosa batter and all that, and just a small kind of business, they actually have a turnover of 200 crores. And that's again because of limited market, but strong penetration there, supported with intensive marketing, good distribution. Wow, and you have a very, very, very significant market share. We have many, many players in South too, in Tamil Nadu too, where we have one small company. This product called Rajaram. I don't know how many of you have heard of this brand called Rajaram. It's peanut candy and some other candy. But I can tell you, any connoisseur of peanut candy will not touch any other product if Rajaram is available on the shelf. That's the kind of brand loyalty Rajaram has. And they're not advertised for, I think, ever since they got making the product. But I'm saying that's the kind of quality that they have. Of course, there's Ambika's, which is now spread its franchise and all that, but it's competing with them. And so is Grand Sweets and Surya's and all of them. But peanut candy is Rajaram. That's something that we know. Yes, I think the important thing about South India, I think the entrepreneurs are certainly very cautious. They don't want to spread themselves thin. They understand the value of money. I'm remembering what Mahafoy Pandian was saying this morning. Give. I think they give attached importance to all the four aspects: governance, innovation, what is the V yours? Value, yeah, that's the word that's important for. And so that is what I think the Tamil audience, Tamil entrepreneurs want to provide. They want to give, they want to certainly be on high on governance, innovation, value, and so that's where we are. So I think God has been kind to all these entrepreneurs. There are companies like AVTT who desire to go all India, and they are nobody anywhere. They're strong in Kerala. They can actually get stronger in Kerala by focusing in Kerala. That's a team market. And then they're going to look at adjoining markets, get their feet more strongly perched there, and then go to the adjoining market, get their feet strongly perched there as well, instead of spreading them so thin. There's some lesson to be learned. And I think many of us who have been in this business long enough to know that it's easy to say all this to an entrepreneur, very difficult to implement on the ground. I'm happy to be invited by Shankar. Where is he? So I think it's a great second season that we're all having. God bless you and good speed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can you please stay back? Thank you for giving us insight. There's so much more to South India and potential that we need to discover. I take this opportunity to invite Mr. M.A. Parthasarthi, CEO Mindshare, and Mr. Krishnan Kuti, Business Head, Star Vijay, to join us on stage. Well, stayed our speaker. Please take center stage. Thank you very much. The nation wants to know, and he delivers his promise every day with the hottest debate on live television. A journalist who knows that there is more to Chennai than Jallikattu. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Arnab Goswami, founder and managing director, Republic TV. And he's going to talk to us about innovation in South India. Chennai welcomes you. I think we can do better.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that warm introduction. Thank you, Shankar, for inviting me. It's the first time I've come back to Chennai, but I have a strong, very emotional attachment with Chennai and with the South. But before that, I want to tell you, Shankar, where are you? Shankar, you've given me 15 minutes. Now, that is the length of my average question. I mean, what are you thinking of? You call me to Chennai, you give me 15 minutes. I assume you've given me no time limit. I used to do my program earlier. I don't know if you know. I started doing a program when I started Times Now. Before that, I used to co-anchor the program. I did not let any of my co-anchors speak a word. Everybody quit their jobs. Eventually, therefore, I was very happy. I got 1 hour to myself. Then I started fighting with all the advertisers. So then I pushed out the advertisers. And then I decided that 1 hour was not enough. So I don't know if you know this. The program I did called the News Hour on Times is the only 2-hour hourly program in the world. So much for the time limit. But I'm very happy to be in Chennai. Chennai holds a very, very special part in my heart, and I'll tell you why. Because I came to Chennai in February 2017. And that is the time when the idea of the Republic Media Network, you know, the time when I had quit Times, and I had some, 7 police complaints against me and some 11 court cases for simply switching my job. I remember I came here, and it was a difficult time because I had very little money, I had 0 resources, and I had made a declaration that I'm going to fight the biggest media organization in this country, which is Bennett Coleman, and many people thought we were completely crazy. But I remember the kind of response I got in Chennai. I don't remember the auditorium, Srini, but they welcomed me with all my heart. And my friends, people I've ideologically agreed or disagreed with, just showered me with so much love. And I went back from Chennai really actually feeling that this is going to happen. And my friend Vikas, CEO of our network, was with me at that point of time. We saw the love that Chennai gave me. And so I did something back for Chennai. So after all of this, we were about to launch. And again, we were completely bootstrapped. And we also needed to make an announcement that we are going to advertise. I've always believed you should play on scale even if you don't have it. So I'll tell you my attachment to Chennai. At 8 o'clock on 18th April 2017, I got a WhatsApp. And that was the first media campaign of Republic TV announcing. And it was in a bus stop in a place called, pardon my pronunciation, Panagal Maligai, and in Chennai. And it was a bus hoarding, and it read, Mindam Arnab. Now, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because many people were so happy I was gone. But here I was actually announcing that I was going to come back, and it was a very heady feeling. So I just wanted to come back and say thank you today to Chennai, and you can pass that on to everyone here. Then we launched in week 1, we got 51.9% market share. And that was the David and Goliath fight. If you come to my office in Mumbai, you will still see the handwritten note of my producer, where she wrote down the channel share. You know, I'm very competitive. I'm not politically correct. We got 51.9% channel share. And times that we got 23%. That was love. What people said. Nothing is static. Things change. Orders change. Hierarchies change. But so I just want to start by saying that we are built on the love, affection, and attention of the viewers. For me, that is the media business. So whether you watch me for news or for entertainment, I'm very grateful that you're watching me every night and our channel every night. Now, I've been asked to talk about innovation in South India. You can't keep it only South India specific, but I'll tell you a few attributes which I think are at the core of innovation in the media business, and where South India can play its unique part. Personally, I am of the firm belief that the only future of innovation that is the most powerful, and in that South India must play an instrumental part, is of building digital come TV media organizations. See, the approach of being print plus TV is something that I don't personally believe will last the race. So I don't believe, in fact, that they have any relevance at all, because there will be no innovation in print plus TV or print plus digital organizations. So those who are running print organizations must quickly see the future. And in the future, especially in English print, it's gone. It's a question of when it disappears. Vernacular print will continue for longer. But the future is TV plus digital. And therefore, organizations for the future, including in South India, which have the steadiness and the powerhouse of television, because television will continue to grow in India, wrapped by the nimble innovation and the overwhelming expanse of digital and technology, are going to be the media organizations of the future. So my point number 1 is, South India will also need and will need to collaborate with organizations which are digital plus TV. My second point to you is, ask to be represented. As much as we need organizations which are internally packed with the power of television and the innovation of digital, I am convinced, when I come to this part of the country, time and time again, that this part of the country deserves to have greater representation in every way. But as a journalist, I say more so in the world of media, and more so in the world of news media. It is undoubted, both in terms of core numbers of the English-speaking audience of South India, as well as in terms of the deep sensitivity and the news of awareness in this part of the country, because news awareness here is phenomenally high because of the literacy levels. There is an untapped potential, I believe, in generic terms, of making South India a hub for national news. And I'm coming to the critical point right now. I have a 20-year battle with Luthians. And hence, I am requesting South India to challenge Luthians. I've been challenging Luthians out of Mumbai. Join me in challenging the hegemony of Luthians media. Now, let me give you some statistics on this. This is not just a statement that I'm making. 2011 census shows that out of the 2.6 lakh people who listed their mother tongue as English, Tamil Nadu had the second highest number of English speakers, followed by Karnataka. Unfortunately, even this statistic measuring English is actually skewed because many list it as their second language and not the first. So 10% of India is English speaking, and states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra hold 60% of this audience. That is phenomenal. It should be a subject of conversation at your conclave today. That your unique ability to be the part of the country that goes to the heart of the English-speaking audience gives you both an opportunity and a road to growth. The number of English speakers in the South are increasing the most in the country. So your base is big, you're growing. And just in Tamil Nadu, the number has increased to 17%, and in Kerala, it's almost 20%. So the most number of people who speak English is not in the east and northeast, certainly not in the north, not in the west, but in the south of this country. Have the media agencies of this country actually thought about this? And having said that, let me say this to you also, that I feel aggrieved that in this country where the link language is English, Hindi is the widest spoken language. I run a Hindi channel. But what is the link language? The language is English. And the maximum number of English speakers are here. Have we looked at that potential? Now, point number 3. So my point is that people in the South, apart from their innumerable languages, dialects, their intricate diversities that stitch every state, region, and district in these 5 states, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra, and Telangana, the point to make is that the time has come for the media of the South to say we want to be represented. Because the last 20 years have taught me that unless you ask to be represented, I would even say fight to be represented, because there are people far more polite than me. One cabal in Lutyens, Delhi will neither give an ear or a care to look beyond their carefully structured fences and well-manicured power lawns. The power of the media is not in Delhi, it is here, in Chennai, in Mumbai, in Bengaluru. But the usurping of the power has happened. And it is maybe 5 or 6 organizations sitting in Delhi have formed a cozy club where Shankar, they would not appreciate the fact that this media also exists. I ask you today, have you given them that right to represent you? When they go to the governments and the regulatory agencies, when they go to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, to private organizations, to the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, I ask you today, have you given them the sovereign right to represent you? To say that we are the media? You haven't. Have they taken it from you? Yes. Why? Because you've never asked for a voice. So my third point, we need to really think about this today. And people like Swamy, who's sitting here, need to play a critical role in this, because we have people of experience outside Delhi as well in the media. You see, ladies and gentlemen, South India is a massive market in itself. And I'm telling you, there is a need to fight for representation. I will equally say that it is important to end the usurping of power by one lobby. So what we did was we formed 2 weeks back, 3 weeks back, something called the News Broadcasters Federation of India. A federation of news channels, almost 50 news channels, and over 17 of our 50 channels are from the south of India. So I have personally taken that step last week. And I'm the most unpopular person in Delhi today. I have just short not been thrown out of the News Broadcasters Association. The News Broadcasters Association, and maybe they will sack me after this, is a carefully constructed group of people in which 7 channels, or 7 or 8 channels, some with, I won't mention, one of them I started my career in, have 0.001% viewership in this country. But they are permanent board members of the NBA. Now let me explain how this happens. You know the UN Security Council. They have formed a UN Security Council kind of structure. Everybody has the veto power. But you ask today, this thriving industry, will they have a power there? They won't. So 70% of the members of what is seen to be the most powerful grouping of news organizations in this country are all based out of a 5 into 5 kilometer zone in Lutyens, Delhi. How fair is that? How fair is that? Who gave them the right to get the UN Security Council powers? Why does Pudiya Talamai not matter? Why does V6 News not matter? Why does Asianet News Network not matter? Why does Polymer News Network not matter? Why does News 7 or MKTV, why do they not matter? You see, you talk of regional languages. And OTT later today, I know it's on your agenda. But the fact is that at the present, you now must coordinate your actions to fight this cabal, both commercially and editorially. Seek your space. Demand your due. Shift the balance of power, which is my 4th point. And I want this conclave to actually think about it. See, regional media broadcasters in regions beyond Delhi are powerhouses in their field, and it is time they demand and create hubs. Now, this is another idea that I have been pushing, and I've been telling people wherever. I said, my funda is simple. The farther from Delhi, the better. Delhi cannot become the media capital of India. Take a resolve today at this meeting that you will not allow Delhi to become the media capital of India. Create a second national hub of media in Chennai, in Pune, in Bengaluru, in Mumbai. Farther from Delhi, the better. You may not have thought of this, but I only think strategically. I look at the media 10 years, 20 years ahead, and I ask myself, what would I like the media to be? And what steps am I taking today to evangelize the idea and actually stick my neck out? Now, today what I'm telling you may seem impossible, but please understand that you are in a, if I ask you today, can there be a media hub which operates as a special economic zone, for example? Can you have a media hub if we want, and I've told this to everyone today, we had a software revolution in this country. We became the back end of the world. We led the IT revolution. Can India be the second media hub for the world? I think it can be. Have we thought of it? We haven't, because we become insular in our thinking. We're really happy in our own domestic markets, in our local businesses. We haven't amalgamated. We haven't thought of the future. The future is simple. 2 things for the future, can I tell you? 2 things for the future. 10 years from now, maybe 5 years from now, there will be an India. We will make it happen, where there will be media hubs of equal significance in Mumbai, Bengaluru, Chennai, Trivandrum, as equal in power and stature as those operating in Delhi. Remember, those are the Vanshwadis, as they say in Hindi, the dynasts. They inherit media organizations, but the media is not a club to be inherited. The media must be deserved. We are the anti-dynast media club. We are the non-Lutyens media club. Think of it as a thought what you can do. Now, did you think these things can happen? Maybe not, but did you think that Article 370 would be scrapped? Do you think this can happen, but did you think that there would be an anti-triple talaq bill which would stack up in Parliament and would be passed on the 30th of July? No. Fact of the matter is that we are living in changing times. And that's what I want you to think about today. Nobody thought of many things that are happening in this country today. When I say this country's battle is not between right and left. This country's battle is between right and wrong. That's it. No left liberal can stand up to me and say 370 was right. It was wrong. That's it. What is happening is correct. We can have a debate on it. But I want you to believe that from this place, maybe you can make that change. The next thing which I want this forum to think about, when the shift happens, because it will happen, what I'm telling you will happen, believe me, it will happen. The battle has begun. The media is going to shift out of Delhi. I'm asking you today, what will be your role in catalyzing that change? I'm playing my part. We formed an organization. After this, I hope to meet several people from the media here, collaborate with them, work with them, change the indices of power, collaborate commercially and editorially with regional news broadcasters to find better advertising models, better ways of reaching out to people, together talk to distribution networks, reduce the cost of distribution, expand in the content creation space. These are practical conversations that I need to have because besides being a loud anchor, I'm also an entrepreneur. So I want to have these conversations, but now let me tell you eventually what the future will be. See, let me explain this. When a shift happens in the balance of power in terms of domestic power structures of the media, I would say then where should you stop there? You should not stop there. You should shoot for the stars. You should shoot for the stars because there is nothing that Indian media cannot do. And I have said this, people laughed me out on it. You know, in 2013, I said this to the Financial Times in London, and they did a page with me called Lunch with the FT. And I thought they were taking me seriously. They devoted an entire page in a London newspaper to me. Then they made a cartoon, and they thought I was very funny because I actually was saying that we are going to have a global news organization out of India. They thought it was a practical joke. And then I said this exact same thing that I told them in 2013. I remember December 2015. There was a huge media conclave in Moscow. And there were the leaders of CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, all those guys there. I showed them the statistics. I told them the way media is being consumed. I told them about literacy and awareness levels, and I proved to them that the West is the most unaware place about international relations. And the most aware place about international relations is India. And for the last 6 years, at every forum I go to, I have been evangelizing my greatest dream. And my greatest dream is of multiple media organizations from India, rooted in India, invested in India, people from India, equity from India, technology from India, broadcasting to the world. That is my dream. So I need to tell you this. Indian media cannot always be the passenger in the car. We do not deserve to be the passenger in the car. You see the journalists in this country, and when I come to the South, there is an overwhelming amount of established journalists that have never gotten their due. So I'm asking you today, we are talking about the future. Why can't a global vision be born out of India? And I believe that there are 3 indices that you need to carefully think about to succeed in global news. I don't know beyond news. I'm a news guy. You ask me about news and television, I'll talk about it. I can't talk about entertainment. I am the entertainment. But there are 3 ticks that you need to have in global news. And to the young people, I met some people from MOP Vaishnav College. Talk about this in your colleges. What do you need to be a global news media powerhouse? 1, you need youth. We have it. We are a young country with a workforce that is set to become the world's largest by 2027. We have 24 million people coming into the workspace every year, 2 million a month. We are a country where the youth are ambitious, aspirational, hungry for more. And this youth, for 2/3 of our population, without doubt, this hunger to grow transcends into media as well. So we should not think small anymore. Reason number 1, we should get into global media, global news. Reason number 2, simple. Technology, we have it. But there's something which upset me recently. Someone told me that, you know what, some of the best animation is being replicated in India. I said, what do you mean replicated in India? They said, no, the artists with the soft skills are in the US. But you know, Indians are great. The moment you give them an idea, they sort of implement it. But it upset me. Why can't we be the artists? We're capable of being the artists. We undermined ourselves. We were very happy being the back end of the world. We cannot be the back end of the world, which is why I am here to tell you we're going to be the front end of the world. India is embracing technology at the fastest pace in the world. Our IT exports are actually growing 10% in this financial year. We're seeing a spike on a year-on-year basis. We are ranked third among promising markets for tech breakthroughs. So it is undeniable that when you need this technology to come in to build a global news or media powerhouse, you have it in India. And the third reason why we will succeed in global news is because you need English. And we have it. We speak better English than anyone in the United Kingdom today. Better than any of them. 10% of India's population being English, even according to poorly measured statistics, that's 125 million people. That makes us the second largest English-speaking nation in the world. Why can't India wield all these three advantages, technology, youth, and English, to become a global news hub? So the point I want to make at closing is this. We're the world's largest democracy, 900 million voters. We hold the world's largest election. It is only natural that now more than ever before, we actually think of leading the world in the media space, which is the most democratic platform that exists. Why should we be the back office of the world any longer? I say it is time to take charge and to lead the way. So essentially, I leave you with two thoughts. And I am actually inviting anyone to join me in this, because I am in it now. I always wanted to have my own network. God gave me the opportunities, I got it. I feel very blessed. Whatever we did, we gained, we got the support of the people of this country. We benefited from it. Now I've built an organization. The organization will grow. We're doing big things in digital next month. But what is our bigger game? And I am now inviting collaborators in this. Our bigger game should be, one, can we change the power dynamics of the media in India? Can we tell those guys in Delhi, hello, we exist? I'm from Guwahati, you know. I supported the launch of a channel called News Live in 2008, 9, something. I sent some of my people, and they introduced Avid and Vizarti, and we taught them the system integration. And today I go to Guwahati, there are like 11 channels. There are 30 news portals. It's incredible, this mushrooming thing. It's not political. It is genuine. People are hugely consuming media. So it's time to tell from regional powerhouses we exist. We change the power dynamics. If any of you here know anyone or are personally willing to be vested in the transformative experience of taking the power balance out of Delhi, not denying them their balance, but just having a better balance of power in India, join me. Second point is, if you believe that we can be the next index of global news, the global news media, even if you cannot join it, but if you actually believe that it will give us a sense of pride, that we can be the next soft power, our soft power cannot just be pushed through yoga. Let's be real about it. Our soft power has to be our influence in the way the world thinks. And I have done this before. And this time, I would really look out for people who can help me take this further. So, not all of this is specific only to South India, but I have told you also reasons why, with your unique advantage, the media that you have, and your language prowess, you can lead the way. I hope to collaborate with a lot of you as I take this step into the future. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. India can be the media hub of the world, and the potential is in South India. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Arnab, there are lots of people waiting to talk. Many of them, I'm sure, want to be part of your debates and ask you questions. And Arnab, you're going to be picking the person who's going to ask questions. So put your hands up, and Arnab will choose. You have questions? For the man of many questions? Put your hands up.
Hello, Arnab. This is Dr. Valan from Loyola College Office of Media Relations, Chennai.
Nice to meet you, sir.
My question is this. Will the new education policy reduce the South Indian power that we have now?
So I'm not aware of the details of that. So unlike on my show where I comment on everything, I'll give you an informed reply later.
Okay, thank you.
Honestly, I don't know, so I don't want to claim.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we have one more question, and here goes the mic.
Hi, Arnab. Very
Hi.
interesting talk. I think, while watching television, it's difficult today to differentiate between PR and actual news, propaganda. So how do you kind of see that improving in our society? Because obviously it's becoming a large problem.
Yeah. So, I have a very simple formula. I know that we cannot cover everything. So our day begins by asking ourselves, what are those 2 things or 3 things which we think will make people think deeper. So my entire approach has been that if I can remain in your aftertaste after you watch my show, right? And if it can be a conversation starter for you. For example, get all the opinion together, have a strong debate, and you polarize opinion. Is it bad to polarize opinion? It's not. I think it's very good to polarize opinion because you are making people less passive. You're provoking people to think. Many people say that if you're doing all the thinking and you have all the opinion, you want to force your opinion on people, are you treating people as passive? No. When people are watching shows like ours or channels like ours, at that moment they are passive. But believe me, it's like a long-lasting drug. It will make you think for a period of time. And I think change happens when you can get larger and larger numbers of people to think on issues. I'm sorry to give you a slightly longer answer to this. You actually made me sort of just reflect on this matter a little more. We were not in the conversation. Till 2007 or 8 or 9, news was not in the conversation. I was meeting Venkat, of Reno just some time back, and I told him that we are in the conversation. We are leading the conversation, for good or bad. So we are bringing current affairs alive to your world today. And we're making you a part of the conversation. I can assure you today, if you ask this audience today, whether 377 or 370, more people today have a more informed opinion on things. So the way I look at us in the news industry, we are not evangelists. I don't talk about the journalism of courage and talk about things. We are practical people. But if in the course of doing what we do, we make a longer lasting change in the country, then I think that would have served the broader national interest. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Arnab, I have to say this, most journalists, even the most seasoned ones, don't know how to say Chennai properly. They still say Chennai. And you said Meendum Arnab in absolute style. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. You got your thumber on point. And we'd like to thank you, Mr. Shankar and Mr. Bharat from Fourth Dimension Media. May I request you on stage? Arnab, we'd like you back. We'd like to felicitate, we'd like to thank you. I have one more request. When you step down, everyone's want to take a picture with you. But I'd say, can you do a reverse selfie with everyone here, if that's possible? Okay, sure. All right, thank you so very much.